Welcome back, math fans. It's good to see that the last one didn't scare you off. Today we are going to take a look at order of operations. This is something that you're probably pretty familiar with. You may have forgotten a little bit about it, but that's okay. We're going to knock off the dust, sand down some of the rusty spots, and get you moving again. PEMDAS is the acronym that gets used to help remember order of operations. This is what tells you what to do first, second, third, fourth, when you're simplifying numerical and algebraic expressions. We'll start with the P. P is for parentheses. You are going to look for parentheses first. You are going to do all of the operations inside the parentheses before you move on. The second operation we're going to look for is exponents. Remember, if you have forgotten what an exponent looks like, if we have something that looks like 3 to the 4th power, this little guy right up here is an exponent. And that 4 reminds you or tells you to use 3 as a factor 4 times. So that would be the same as 3 times, not 4. 3 times 3 times 3. Now, a long time ago in a galaxy far away, PEMDAS used to be written up and down. It used to be vertically aligned with the M and then the D and then the A and the S. And it was misleading because people thought they had to go through and do all of the multiplying, then all of the dividing. We have since changed that. We have changed the notation. We are going to multiply and divide from left to right. As you come to it. And then once we have gone through and done all of the multiplication and division, we are going to go through and add and subtract in the same way. I am going to cheat and copy and paste this part. Right down here. So let's go try it. First thing we are going to do is the parentheses. Well, I happen to see some super fancy parentheses right there. That means the first thing I'm going to do I know 5 plus 3 is 8. So that is the first thing I do. Everything in the parentheses first. Then if I go down my list, exponents comes next. So I'm going to do 4 times 8 squared is 64. Then we are right here. We are going to multiply and divide, then add and subtract. If I look at my problem, I do have some multiplication. I love you guys, but I'm not taking any chances and doing that in my head. So I'm going to pull out my Desmos Scientific app. And I'm going to do 4 times 64 I get 256. That is my final answer. A lot of people say, Miss Graham, how do I know when I stop? You stop when you don't have any more operations. I have no more addition symbols, subtraction symbols, no more parentheses, no more exponents, none of that. All I have is one number. So we'll do one that's a little harder. We will slowly bump these up, and as you get more comfortable, we'll make them a little bit harder. I'm going to start with parentheses first. Well, I have two sets of parentheses. I have a set right here, and I have a set over here. We're going to do them in the order we get to them. So for this first set, I know that 6 plus 4 is 10. Then I'm going to simplify the other set. 11 plus 10 divided by 2. Since there are multiple operations in there, I am going to refer back to my list. It says that I do multiplying and dividing first. That means the first thing I'm going to do inside these parentheses is that division. So this is going to become 11 plus 5. Now I still have those parentheses there, so I am going to go and finish those off before I move forward. 11 plus 5 is 16. I've finished off that set of parentheses. Now I can move forward in PEMDAS. The second step for PEMDAS says I need to work with my exponents. I only have one set of exponents, or one exponent. It's 10 squared. Well, I know that is 100. After the exponents, I multiply and divide from left to right. I don't have any multiplication or division. Then I add and subtract. 100 plus 16 is 116. This one is a little bit simpler in that we don't have parentheses, but we do have a whole lot of dividing and multiplying and adding. So we have to make sure we do these in the right order. Otherwise, it's not going to go so well. I'll make this a little bit bigger so I have some more room. I'm going to jot down my acronym. There's nothing wrong with that if you need to write it down on the edge of your paper so you can refer back to it and not scroll up and down in your notes. We don't have parentheses. We don't have exponents. We do have multiplying and dividing right here. Now remember, just because multiply comes first in the name, it doesn't mean we have to do it first. We're going to do them in the order we see them. So first, we're going to do 12 divided by 3. That becomes a 4, and I'm going to rewrite the rest. Now, I need to take care of the multiplying. 4 times 12 is 48. Plus 10. Then I can do the adding. So I end up with 58. This one's got a little bit of everything. I'm going to jot down my order. Here we go. We start with parentheses. Well, I have some of those bad boys right there, so I'm going to leave my 2, and the multiply. Inside the parentheses, we start with exponents first. So I'm going to bring down the 9 times 5. 3 to the second power is 3 times 3. So that's a 9, and then I'm going to bring down the plus 4. I'm still not done inside the parentheses. I know I have to do multiplying and dividing inside the parentheses. Well, I have a 9 times 5. Now I do the adding and the subtracting inside the parentheses. 45 and 9 is 54. Now I can drop my parentheses. I don't have any more operations inside of them. We can just leave it as a plain 54. We have officially finished the parentheses part. That was just the first one, guys. I don't see any exponents, so I can cross that one off. I do have some multiplication. So I do the multiplication as my next step. That would be 108 plus 4. Now I can do the adding and subtracting. So this is going to end up being 112. Now, you do not have to do these by hand every single time. You can plug them in the calculator, but here's the catch. If you don't plug these in correctly, the calculator is the fastest way to be wrong. So you have to be very careful about how you plug them in. So we're going to look at how to plug these in. I'm going to start with number 1. It's a very great place to start. My big operation, let me get a highlighter, is that division bar right there, so that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with the division bar. You can start with the division bar, or if you use the A over B button, it does the same thing. That lets me put in my numerator. Remember, that's the top. And then I tap on the bottom and I put in my denominator. Then I'm going to tap out to the side so that what I have typed in looks exactly like what's on my paper. By the magic of Desmos, we get 6. If you wanted to double check, this would be 27 divided by 9 plus 3. Well, 27 divided by 9 is 3. Plus 3 does, in fact, give me 6. We're going to put in number 2. Again, my main operation is that division bar, so I'm going to start with the fraction button. And I'm going to put in 45 and tap in the denominator. And I'm going to type it in with the parentheses. That's better. I'm going to make sure that what I plugged in looks exactly like what's on my paper. And I get 9. If you want proof, I will happily work that out for you by hand. Send me an email. This one's a little bit different. In this one, notice that there's nothing back here behind the 4. We go straight to addition. So when we plug this one in and we do 32 divided by 4, we're not going to keep typing down there by the 4. We're going to tap out to the side and continue with the addition. That is super important, folks. If you had kept typing in the denominator, here's where you would end up. I do 32 divided by 4 plus -7 plus 5 squared. Y'all, 12 and 4 are very different numbers. Just saying. Make sure that when you type it in correctly. So this is 12. Now I threw this one in here because I know some of you are going to say, oh, Miss Graham, those are square ones. What do I do? There's no square ones on the calculator. First thing you do is take a deep breath. Second thing you do is you take your pencil and you round out those corners. When we're typing out problems like this, we sometimes will use the square brackets instead of extra parentheses, because when you stack a bunch of parentheses together, it starts to get confusing. So we use the square brackets sometimes so you know that those pieces go together and then these little round ones go together. That's the only reason. Now, what I also want you to recognize is back here, oh, nope, over here. This division only applied to the 4. This time, the division is applying to everything back here in the parentheses, so that's going to change how we enter it. We're going to start with a 14 divided by, then I'm going to put in, if you want to do it, you can stack your parentheses. Just pay attention when you do it. So Desmos is a fabulous tool as long as you know how to use it.